Hello friends, today is World's Human Rights Day on 10th of December 1949. The Universal Declaration of Human Rights was proclaimed in Paris, and since then on December 10, Human Rights Day is being observed across the globe. So today we are celebrating or observing 75th anniversary of Human Rights Day. Our mainstream media is not much interested in talking about the issues concerning human rights. And in political science also, there is a tension between a state and human rights, the rights of the people and the security of the state. And in this small lecture, I'll be also talking about the different perspective to look at human rights and who were the philosophers who influenced the idea of universal rights. So I will request you to read Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is available on internet. But here I would like to say that the crux of Universal Declaration of Human Rights is that human beings are equal irrespective of caste, class, gender and religion, and they must be given dignity. So people cannot be discriminated, hierarchy cannot be practiced, and sufficient conditions for realizations of the goals and aspirations must be provided, and no government can deny a person basic fundamental rights. So these are the main issues, the main concerns of Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It emerged after the establishment of the United Nations after the Second World War. In the Second World War, a large number of people were killed and whole humanity faced huge sufferings because of the war, killing and deaths. And after that, a realization dawned upon philosophers, thinkers, policy makers and diplomats that war and conflict are not going to solve the issues which we are facing, and the only thing is that we must go for dialogue, for diplomacy and peace building mechanism. So these are the issues which are directly related to international politics, but as far as individual is concerned, it was realized that people across the globe are equal and they all have rights, and nobody can be denied of fundamental rights or human rights irrespective of religion, race, caste and other identities. The countries and the regions, particularly in Asia, Africa, they suffered at the hands of the colonial power, and colonial rule has discriminated the native people, and colonial master exploited the resources of the colony, and people in the colony remained largely poor, illiterate and sick. So after the Second World War, the process of decolonization started. India got independence in 1947, and many other countries in Asia, in Africa, they also got free. So in international relations, we could see, in world politics, we could see that after the Second World War, we have, I think, the rise of recently decolonized nations, decolonized countries, and the people who have suffered at the hands of the colonial master for many decades, for centuries, now they were raising their voices at international level. So there was also the pressure from the south, and it has changed the policy makers to take human rights issue very, very seriously. And after Second World War, there were many countries who adopted socialist policy and communist policies, and socialist and communist politics, they supported the rights of the most marginalized, the workers, the peasants, and the downtrodden. So in international relations, we could see that there was the rise of the subaltern classes, and that had bearing on the framing of the idea about human rights. So after Second World War, we have the official recognitions that people are equal and people cannot be discriminated on any ground, and there cannot be a feeling of low and supreme. And even at that time, colonization was being criticized by the progressive people. Now in the next sections, I will be talking about philosophy and human rights. I teach political science, and I have taught John Locke. John Locke was an English philosopher in 17th century, and he is considered as one of the pioneer thinkers of liberalism, and his idea also influenced Americans during their war of independence. So the Locke, who is considered the father of liberalism, has given a very important theory, and this theory is known as natural rights. So when we talk about rights, when we talk about fundamental rights, then John Locke cannot be ignored. That John Locke's idea of natural rights have largely shaped the idea of the human rights. So what did John Locke has to say about human rights? John Locke has basically said that human beings are equal and human beings have got rights. Those rights are inalienable. The term inalienable means that those innate rights, those rights cannot be taken away from anybody, including the state. So before the rise of the state, before the rise of the political society, human beings lived in the state of nature, and they were all equal. They all had rights, and right to life, right to property cannot be taken away from people by any authoritarian regime or by any state. So our understanding about liberal values of tolerance, of rights, of individualism, of civil liberties, of human rights, these are largely influenced by the writings and the philosophy of John Locke. John Locke has to say everybody is equal and everybody has got rights that cannot be taken away, and these rights are inalienable. They are with human beings and no state can deny it. In India, the rise of the Hindu right is basically underscoring the concept of duty, which is called in Hindi kartab. So what is happening that in India, adhikar or rights are not much stress, and more duties and kartab are underscored. So this is also called, or this could also be seen that in Indian politics there is a visible right-wing shift. Karl Marx came after John Locke, and he wrote largely in 19th century, and Karl Marx wrote a pamphlet, Jewish Question. In Jewish Question, he is basically criticizing the liberal understanding of the rights, that it is ironical that the modern state has given political equality to people, but on the other hand the social and economic equality are not discussed, they are not taken up, and they are ignored. So according to Karl Marx, true emancipation can only happen when when people have all the rights, including political rights, social rights, and economic rights. So what Karl Marx has said in Jewish Question is largely related to the Dalit and Bahujan critique, and also Baba Saheb Ambedkar critique, that we have got a democracy, we have got a political institutions where people are given equal rights in constitution, all people have got one vote. On the other hand, in society, caste system is practiced and people are rich, people are poor. So in society, social power has not been democratized. It is still in the hands of the rich, it is still in the hands of the upper caste people, while we have political democracy which is talking about equality and which is talking about all people are equal. So we could see here that the conception of human rights is also evolving, but later the Marxist critique of the rights has come and Marxism has brought to the mainstream the issue of economic and social rights. And in India, what is happening, that Dalit and Bahujan critique is bringing caste discrimination to the forefront, and caste discrimination is very much prevalent in India. You could see it that after 70 or 80 years after independence, even the institutions are largely being monopolized by the upper caste and the rich people. So the first thing we have to keep in mind today, that we will be defending human rights. We will be fighting for our rights. Human beings are equal. Human beings have got rights. We must fight for the rights, and we cannot allow a state, police or any other agency to go against the constitution and violate our rights. Human rights is grossly being violated. Human rights is under the attack, particularly after the rise of the Hindu right government since 2014. Since 2014, the cases of UAPA, the draconian laws, are being used in large number, and largely people from the marginalized communities are being targeted, being jailed, and they are being denied bail by the courts. So this is also very serious issue, and the place where I am making this statement, I am making this video, is JNU, and you could see here that several students from the JNU, including Umar Khalid and Sharjil Imam and others, are in jail because they are under the charge of UAPA. Several human rights activists and lawyers are saying that UAPA is a draconian law which has no place in any democracy, and it is against the idea of human rights. That large number of people, particularly Adivasi, Dalits, OBCs, minority Muslims, they are being jailed and they are being punished. They have to struggle a lot to get bails. So this is also very serious issue. Untouchability has been abolished. Civil rights are given, but still Dalits are being attacked, particularly their women are being attacked, and the crimes against Dalits are happening almost every second. 70 or 80 years after the implementation of the constitution, which was drafted and which was made by Baba Saheb Ambedkar, the followers of Baba Saheb Ambedkar, they are suffering because the state and its police have largely failed to ensure human rights to people. Friends, when we talk about human rights in India, we have to also keep in mind that minority is under attack in India, and a large number of Muslims, they are being suppressed, they are being abused, their religious sentiments are being hurt, and there has been a new phenomena where people from the minority communities, their houses are being demolished with the help of the bulldozer. So there is a bulldozer democracy which is emerging and which is being celebrated by the right-wing party. Particularly Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has used it in a large number, and there are several stories that another BJP state, Assam, has also used bulldozer to demolish the houses of the minority community. Bulldozer and sudden demolition of the houses have no place in Indian constitution, and I think Supreme Court must take notice of it, because if people are denied human rights, then our democracy cannot survive. Friends, there is another issue. The last one is that the rights of people are being denied in the name of the security of the state. So if you want to speak, if you want to criticize the government, if you want to have a more budget on education or health, and if you go for agitation, then what is happening, that agitation is being demonized by the media, by the mainstream media, as if that these are anti-national activities, these are anti-developmental activities, and these are in some cases terrorist activities. So in the name of security, people's rights are being attacked, people rights are being taken back, state is becoming more and more authoritarian. So these are big concerns. So friends, on this Human Rights Day, we must keep in mind that without defending human rights of people, irrespective of the caste, class, gender and religion, democracy cannot survive. So let's make a pledge that we will be defending, we will be fighting for the human rights, we will be fighting for grassroots democracy, we will be fighting for democratization of media, we will be spreading awareness about the importance of rights, we will be spreading awareness about the importance of constitution, we will be fighting for democracy, we will be fighting for social and economic rights, and we will be fighting for effective and proportional representation of all the marginalized community such as Dalits, Adivasi and minorities and women. Friends, on this Human Rights Day, let's make a pledge that we will fight for the rights of every individual irrespective of caste, class and gender.